The question I want to ask is that feasible for us to change the education system where they can have a handful of of students so that the teacher can have more quality time with the student and create the environment where they can create that trust and bond so that they can share and the teacher become the catalyst of change for the people, for the students?
Yes.
Yes, good.
I mean, well, let me say one thing. First of all, I'm thinking about this a lot because I'm writing a book now about kindergarten, and I spent a year traveling all over the country, the United States, visiting kindergartens. Next, I want to do it internationally. So, but for now, I'm just doing it in this country. And so I'm thinking a lot about this question you asked me. Schools should have more funding. It's outrageous. It's a travesty that we care so little about children, that we give such little amount of money to schools as opposed to other institutions. It's just sickening. In my view, at least in the United States, it's because people care about their own children, but they don't really care about other people's children. So, everyone's reluctant to give a lot of money to other people's children. But set that aside because that's a political and economic issue. I think schools should have more money. I just want to be very unambiguous about that. But even with the money they have, they could go much further in making the relationship between teachers and students a priority and making it possible for children and teachers to work in smaller groups. And I don't mean that we should get rid of content. My life as a student and a teacher has always been that there has to be something you're all working on that matters a lot. It's English literature, it's Asian literature, it's biology, it's calculus, it's French history, whatever, or woodworking. Kids need to learn things, but we need to let go of the idea that all kids need to learn all these different things. If we got rid of that idea and said, okay, instead we're going to make it possible for every group of kids to be in a smaller group, for every teacher to have the chance to work with a smaller group in a sustained way over time, and to work on things. Could, like any number of things. But what you'd have to give up something, and what I think we should give up is this illusion of breadth or mandatory curriculum across 10 topics. I mean, if you look, I don't know about in Vietnam, but in the United States, if you look at a list, I mean, the Common Core, which is our newest attempt at a national curriculum, it's far better than the one before it that was a product of something called No Child Left Behind, which was a disaster. But Common Core is pretty good, but even Common Core has kids rushing from one topic to another, 40 minutes of this and 40 minutes of that, and they have to learn this skill and that skill and that skill, and that's the big barrier to reaching the goal of teachers and kids who can get to know each other. And by the way, as important as it is to learn, to have some exposure to a variety of topics and skills, it's equally important for kids to have the experience of immersion and mastery. And you just can't do all of those things in 6 or 7 hours a day. It's just not possible. So something's got to give. And I wish that, I could be the editor who would edit the master plan of schools, because I'd like to cut some things out to make room for other things to take more time.
Yeah. Earlier.
How's that megalomaniacal fantasy?